Hello, Dani. I'm super excited to have you on today. So many things we're going to talk about. Thank you for coming on. I can't wait.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
So, can you first tell us who you are, what you do, and how you got into doing what you do and why?
Okay. So it all started September 1981, where I was born. No, I do a few things. My business has two lanes. On one hand, I am a mindset coach for CEOs and performance coach for CEOs and business owners. And then on the other side, I do a little more woo-woo stuff. I do energy healing and hypno for just driven females at large. I got into this from I don't know. I've always been a helper. I've been a helper by nature. My intuition has been with me since I was a kid, but I really started delving into it more deeply as an adult. It was 2011, I think, or 2010 when I first got my coaching certification. I graduated college. I started grad school for counseling, and I was like, nah, this ain't it. I'm out of here. Whoop, quit grad school halfway through and started coaching. And I was coaching everyone on everything, kind of trying to hone in on what I wanted to do. And after I started delving in personally in intuitive studies and metaphysics and all that stuff, as well as manifesting at large, it just kind of honed in and my business kind of created itself from my desires and what I like to talk about.
Nice, that's awesome. So, how
Yeah.
did all of the metaphysics, manifestation, did you read something? Was it something that you saw someone else talk about? How did you get into doing that
Yeah.
sort of
So
stuff?
in 2007, I remember very clearly watching The Secret for the first time. And I was like, I fucking knew it. Like, we're magical. I don't know why they're trying to hide this from us. And that led me down like this big rabbit hole. And then my husband, at the time boyfriend, was very into like science, physics, and quantum physics. And I was telling him like, there's this stuff called manifestation, and this happens, and it's magical. And he's like, that sounds like quantum physics. And we kind of like learned from each other, and it put it together in a very cohesive way for my mind. And I was like, everyone needs to know this.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to like know that they're magical. And then it wasn't until later and that I realized my intuition on a deeper level, because I was taught, like many people are, that certain people have gifts, and then the rest of us are just like slubs, And then some people can see and hear and work with the divine in magical ways that other people just can't. And that's what I had in my mind. And I had kind of blocked memories of things that I did as a child and things that happened as a kid and a teen that just started to be unearthed after I started learning about what intuition is and that everyone has it and that everyone can commune with the divine. And there's no magic to it. It's just we are magical beings.
Yep.
And even when I say magical, I feel like it's making it like la la fantasy versus like this is just science. This is just what is. This is how the world works. So wait, what was the question? Sorry.
You answered it actually. Yeah, I
Oh,
mean, it was just
okay.
I just was curious as to how manifestation came about and all of that stuff. And I actually had a friend or have a friend a few years ago. She suggested that I watch The Secret Door. I never watched it, so I need to watch it, but she was like mind blown by it. So it's funny that you brought that up. So I need to watch that. But I've not really learned too much, I guess, about quantum physics. So what is quantum physics, and then what is manifestation? If someone's listening is like the first time, what the hell are you talking about? What would you define those as?
Yeah, so manifestation, if you ask 10 people, you're going to get it defined in 10 different ways. But the way I define it is bringing something from your desired reality into your present existence or experience. Quantum physics is literally physics, the study of energy. Quantum is a really teeny tiny subatomic level. So you know how, I don't know if you remember before, it was like the atom is the smallest thing. And then one day, oh my God, we split the atom. And then we find all these teeny tiny things inside of it. It's the study of that and how that works. And we are that. Like we are just these teeny tiny things, but a lot of them put together to look like we're in this like meat and bone sack, right?
Yep.
So, so manifestation is having the desire and making it real And there are certain laws of the universe that support that happening. Like we might have heard of the law of attraction, which on the most basic, explaining it to a kid level is like attracts like. So when we think about that, we know that if we are subatomic particles, just a lot of them, and we are always in motion and we're vibrating at a certain frequency, that if I'm vibrating at a certain frequency, that thing I want is also a bunch of atoms vibrating at a certain frequency. And if the law of attraction says like attracts like, we just have to be vibing at the same thing and we'll attract each other. So that is really manifestation plus quantum physics in the gentlest way. Just vibe at the frequency of what you want and it's yours. And yeah, some people view it like it's already yours. You just have to decide to vibrate where you need to get it.
Yes, that makes sense. Okay, I just had like 5 questions come to mind. First of all, why do you think this is something that like we're not taught or it's not as well known? I think if you're around like in that community, it is pretty well known. But for a lot of us, like I didn't know in high school what that was. Well, I kind of knew of visualization because my dad told me about it, and then like it kind of things kind of similar. But why do you think we're not taught these things? Why is it kind of like not a thing?
Gosh, so I think for those of us who aren't taught it explicitly, I think it's because, okay, there's levels. And without sounding conspiracy theory-ish, I feel like there's a power dynamic in the world, and it benefits the people at the top of the power dynamic to let the large mass of people that are at the bottom of that power dynamic not know how powerful they actually are. So there's that part of it. Then I think that the holy books of the world, the Torah, the Bible, the Quran, all of those things, I think their real goal was to actually let people know like, yo, you're powerful, you can do this magical shit. But it got so turned around by humans kind of interpreting it in their own specific and limiting way that it just gets passed down generation to generation. It's just limiting. Mm-hmm. So it's up to people who awaken or break free of whatever their conditioning is to then go and like share the word, basically.
Yes. Okay. So what's something in your life, like when was the first time you manifested something and how did it feel? Do you remember that?
So here's the thing. Specific? Here's how I believe. I believe that we're always manifesting. Like if anyone who's listening to this, look around, everything here you manifested. What you didn't do was consciously manifest it or intentionally manifest it, because we, by nature of just being a human little light body being, we're always manifesting because that's what we're here to do. We are creators or co-creators, however you want to view it. So you're always manifesting. You're never not, right? But intentional manifesting, by using these little tips and tricks, and I hate even saying like tips and tricks, but using these certain modalities or tools, it's intentional and conscious. And I think the first time I don't know the first time. Oh, my husband. Oh yeah, that's one. That's a story. So my husband, oh God, 2007, 8, we had a breakup and I was like, that's it. It's over. He's not the one. He's got some growing up to do. So I sat down and I wrote like this whole list of, this is what my husband is. And I wrote it out. It was so detailed, it was ridiculous. It was like 4 or 5 pages, front and back, written out. He's nice to his mother. He likes to plan vacations, like all kinds of crazy shit, like nitty gritty and large scale. We were broken up for, I don't even know, maybe like a month or so. And I was just like, I started dating. I was like, I'm ready to get married. So I'm going to go find my husband. And then one day he came over to my apartment and he was like, listen, I love you. I've made these changes in my life. And he just started rattling off shit from my list. And I was like,
oh, geez.
Okay. Yes. Keep going. Yes. And whatever, 20 years later, here we are. Wow. Married, happy. And yeah. But I think that's the first like conscious, like I'm writing this down and I'm going to fucking get it.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. What about okay, so I'm sure everyone kind of maybe has a different process for manifesting.
For sure.
Or like, tell me more about like how you do it or how you teach about it.
Yeah. So there's so many things you might see and hear or learn on the interwebs, maybe like, listing, that's one thing. Staying in a place of gratitude so that your vibes are high. So whatever you think about, you get. And sometimes I feel like it makes it so minimizing. And the way I teach is that I teach from my own framework called HCM, Heal, Connect, Manifest. So that brings in the healing of our old stories and shit and resistance to what is. The connecting is like our deepening our intuition. So we recognize like, oh, this thing is always on and we're never not connected. And that supports you in the manifesting aspect. So for me, it's not like, okay, think about the Ferrari and here it comes. There's a lot of energetics around it. So, if you're thinking about the Ferrari, but you're just sitting at home waiting, but you're not like going to work or looking up the pricing to finance it, or, doing these actionable human steps that will help like the energy around that thing really come and match with yours, then it's like foolishness. And the easiest way to get into a place where your vibes are where they need to be to attract the stuff that's in that same vibratory level is to clear out the old junk. Like rewire, reprogram, do the stuff that gets you in the space of like, oh yeah, everything already is, all is well, good vibes, man. And here it comes. And not to minimize, but like, that's what we have to do. So I feel like a lot of the teaching on manifestation right now is very incomplete. And we have to remember that we are whole beings manifesting a whole life. And therefore the healing and clearing of old beliefs and processes and bullshit stories has to go.
Yes. Yeah. I love that process because I've never like heard of it being told like that before. Because I think it is super important to get to work on those limiting beliefs and those stories that like you're telling yourselves and past traumas and like in the subconscious in order to like really be in like touch with your intuition and then be able to, do the manifestation process. And also the action steps behind it. Like, I think a lot of people, I remember when I first was like, I was listening to things, learning about it, and it was like, you think it and then there it is. But that's not all of it. You have to do the work behind it and take action in order for that thing to get manifested. And also, I didn't know that I've never heard of what you talked about before, the like we're always manifesting, but not consciously. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Would you say like there's probably not really a timeline for manifesting it? I'm sure each person it depends. But if someone's like, okay, I want to manifest this person into my life, how long, like, what if they're like, well, I don't want to spend the rest of my life taking action, trying to do it. Like, is there like a kind of a time frame average of like, when can we
I wish.
manifesting? I know.
So like it's different things because different people have different levels of resistance to certain things, right?
Mhm.
So we see it all the time. Like we see a person who's like, okay, they're a CEO, they're killing it in business, they're making so much money, but their relationships are shit, their health is horrible, and vice versa. Someone who's super fit, but they're like beating their wife and kicking the dog and like have no money in the bank. Like different people have resistance in different areas. So there is no one time frame for a person. For everyone listening, look at your life, look at the areas that are smooth flowing and look at the areas that you always have trouble with. I'm of the belief that what you want wants you. Like as a creator being, the fact that I desire XYZ thing means that it's for me, period, right? And therefore, we have to be allow it to come to us. So for example, if I want a mate, right? And I'm like, oh gosh, all I really want is to manifest a husband, and I'm putting it on my vision board and I'm meditating on it and I'm daydreaming about it. But my schedule is chock full with it's fully scheduled. I have no time for a date. I'm not taking care of myself, so I feel ugly and I feel just like not attractive. And I have a belief that all the good ones are taken, or men are liars or cheaters or whatever. All of those things are blocking that from coming to me, because once I say, oh, I want that mate is like, oh, I want that too. And ideally it would be just like we just come together. But if I have all this stuff blocking the way, I have to clear that out and not just take the action, but I have to clear that out so that it can come, because he could be right there or she could be right there and I'm overscheduled, so I wouldn't be able to say yes to a date, or I'm not trusting them because the last one cheated and I'm still in there mentally, so there's no time frame. But you can speed up the time frame by clearing that stuff out.
Yes, that makes total sense. And have you met with people who they kind of are like they don't really believe in this stuff, or they're like, they just are maybe skeptical until maybe they do it, and then they're like, oh shit, this is real. Like this is science. You know, have you had those people?
Yeah, so not in my like world, I don't. I attract people who aren't skeptic, but maybe don't realize that they're actively doing it and are curious. I tend to attract good vibe people.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah, that makes
attract anyone who's
sense.
gonna be like, that's fake. It's like, all right, like why would that be in my experience, you know? So
Right.
so
Yeah.
luckily, no.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Plus, like, if they're not going to be actively searching for someone or looking at that stuff anyway, so it makes sense that
Yeah,
they wouldn't be coming to you. Um,
absolutely.
yeah. And so let's see, what was I going to ask? Oh yeah, how does it so and maybe we kind of answered this already, but we talked about like the relationship part of it. How can it work in business, whether we have our own business or just in work life?
Yeah, so it works with everything and anything. Okay. Um, I just want to just say manifesting is, we're talking about it like it's a thing that we do. And I want everyone to just recognize that it is a way that we are. By everything that we do, the energy that we wake up in the morning and, make our choices, working out or not versus not working out, eating healthy versus not eating healthy, smiling at the guy in the checkout or giving him a scowl, like all of that is energetically bringing you closer or farther from what you want. You're constantly in a flow state. That's a bad word to use, not flow, a flux state. Like we're going up and down in our level of awareness and openness to what we want. So I just want to keep that manifesting. The tools that we're using are helping and supporting us in manifesting, but we're always in a state of manifesting. So just keep that two things separate. And wait, what was the question?
Oh yeah, so
I'm gonna ask that
so
like 7 times. I'm very
I love
forgetful.
that. That's okay. That would be me too. So how it can help in work life,
Oh
business
yeah,
life.
yes. So when we think that we are always manifesting, and we can apply it to the things that we do to manifest health, we can apply it to manifesting a relationship and that kind of love, it only naturally extends to every other area. So what, as a coach, people come to me for love, health, and money. Those are the top things. So with manifesting money, and I even have a whole course on it, because money is an energy, and we're realizing more and more now, it's 2022, we're realizing that money is not like a thing necessarily that I pick up and hold in my hand. I mean, we got freaking Bitcoin. Our money exists as numbers on our screen when we check our phone to see the deposit, like money is an idea and an energy. And therefore we can meet the idea and the energy vibrationally the same way we'd meet love or health or anything else. However, we're also in this physical world, so there are ways to get it. So I could rob the bank. There, I've got it. Or I could hustle, struggle, toil, and or I could desire, position myself to get what it is that I desire, and then allow it with ease. The allowing part is the part that fucks people up.
Yeah.
So here's the thing with allowing. To allow is to surrender. It's to say, I'm not driving this bus. I'm just gonna sit over here in the passenger seat, put on my seatbelt, and do what I have to do. Maybe I'll look at the map, and allow what I want to come. It requires faith, and it requires like an energy of like diligence. So you are going to take whatever actions you are guided to do, which is why connected to your intuition is so important. It helps speed things up, because when you're connected to your intuition, you know the right choice to make, and that speeds up you getting to what you want. So specifically with money, whether it be in a career or just manifesting money, if you're open to allowing it to come, you'll notice that it'll come in multiple ways. Like you might be focused on getting a job with a 6-figure salary, and like that's what you're aiming for. But as you're doing the things to get that, you might notice that, on your daily runs, you find money on the street more often, or your parents gift you something that's really valuable, or it'll come in different ways that lets you know, like, oh yeah, I'm on the right path. I'm getting to the right frequency. I'm making it connect.
Yeah, that makes sense. And actually, this reminds me of recently, And this kind of happens like throughout my life, I feel like the past few years, but I recently left my full-time job to just pursue my own health and fitness coaching business. Yeah, and then in this podcast.
Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you. So exciting. And I didn't have like a solid, well, I didn't have an income at all when I left. I had some money like in my savings and checking, but that kind of ran out real fast. And every single time when I needed money, like when I like at the time I just if I just like needed it and something would come up. Like I got a refund from the IRS from some tax thing 3 years ago. Went to my bank account and I was like, "Oh my God, thank God I have that." Like, "Thank you, universe." Or
Now,
just things like that.
imagine if you didn't have the story that you had to get to the bottom before that blessing came. So right now you're operating with, okay, even if I'm at zero, something's going to come through. So you can just
Yeah.
change that to be like, I don't even have to be at bottom. I'll never go past medium and something's going to come through. I'm always going to be on the high end or whatever. Like you can make a
Yeah.
new rule for yourself that I'll never have below 20K in my bank account or 10K or whatever the thing is that is comfortable for you. You know what I mean? You can change
Yeah.
that story.
Yeah, that's true. Geez, I never thought about that.
It's
Yeah, that's
cool, right? Like
awesome.
we
Yeah.
decide what this life is and we forget. We're human, so we forget, right? But we
Mhm.
get to decide what the rules are for us. We decide the game that we're going to play. And the more you learn about manifestation and the more you connect to your intuition, it's just the more fun this freaking weird ass game of life gets to be.
Yeah, it really is. When you allow stuff like that, when you trust, like you have faith, it's really freeing. Like that's how I feel. Like I'm just kind of going about my life. It feels light, feels free, and just having the trust. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but yeah, it's a much better way of living than like
Yeah.
being worried all the time or just like this kind of like with life, versus just like always
Yeah,
having
it's
that trust.
resistance.
Yeah.
So remember, only a flow of like goodness exists. Only light and free and easy breezy, beautiful cover girl exists. We, crazy ass humans, we put up the resistance. And the level of struggle or strife or like hard, the level of resistance is up to us. So when things are really hard, we're actively putting up a lot of resistance to what is. So we can break that down. We can get into a place of allowing. We can get into a place of faith. And to do that, for some people, it just, when I first started, it was like a little bit of comparison that helped me get there because my personal development journey didn't start till I was supposed to graduate college, 2003. I was supposed to graduate college. I didn't. I dropped out. I was just like, and then I looked around at all these dumbass kids from my high school. I'm like, how is he graduating from college and I'm not? So it was like a little comparison. And I was like, fuck this, I'm getting my life together. And I got back in school and I finished everything and blah, blah, blah. So it could come from comparison, like, oh, they can do it, so can I, which is also like, it's a powerful tool that moves you forward. But also seeing other people, like I always tell people, if you don't have anyone around you doing what it is that you want to do or having the results that you want, find it in a book. I'm literally reading this woman, Rachel Rogers, her We Should All Be Millionaires book right now. But find the inspiration in a book, find it in like a memoir, just find the inspiration because it exists. And you know that if someone else can make it, so can you. But you can also have faith in like, if you're a spiritual person and you know that the Lord always provides or whatever your thing is, you can have that faith and know like I'm always supported and make your own rules.
Yes, for sure. And I remember just telling someone recently, a friend, that because she also is having troubles like loving life because she doesn't love what she does. She sees herself doing something else with her own business, and she doesn't really have any friends like around here because she just moved recently. And I was like, well, one way that I've always done it was by reading books, listening to podcasts, like having mentors who didn't know they were my mentor, but I'm listening to these things, reading things, and that makes a huge difference instead of like thinking about it, okay, I need to be physically surrounded by these people. Like, no, you don't. What we read, listen to, that can have a huge impact.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I didn't know that there were Black millionaires that were not in like entertainment or sports. I didn't know that until I was like 25. I was like, wait a second, what? We got money out here in these streets? Okay. So that's late. Like I should have known this, you know, but it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't around me. It wasn't in my circle. It just wasn't around me. So I didn't know. And therefore I had to look at like, oh my God, Oprah, she came from nothing and now look at her. So I had to just like hone in on Oprah and like, okay, there's the one person. And then like it opened up to me as I, grew and had more experiences in life in the world, you know?
Yep.
So we have to remember that this internet is a magical and wonderful space, and we can find what we need here as well. So yes, books, yes, podcasts, but also Facebook groups for entrepreneurs and CEOs who are actually making money, not these ones who are just talking about it. And like we have the ability to create communities of people who inspire us. And we just have to make sure that we're our hearts in a place of being inspired versus being like, oh man, they did it, so that means I can't. Womp womp. Like there's no space for me. And that's really a personal mindset thing, which is why that heal part, it always makes sense. And so
Yeah.
I know I said heal, connect, manifest as if it's like 1, 2, 3, but I want you to know it's like a circle. Like we're always doing all three, and we always must be focusing on all three to just make this a more like cohesive existence.
Yes. Yeah, that makes sense. So with energy healing, talk more about that. What does that involve? How do you integrate that with everything that you do?
So I want to just say energy healing. I know when we hear it a lot, we think of the more esoteric and woo woo, which is what I do. But before I get to that, I just want to say like when you're feeling like shit and you take a shower, that's energy healing. Okay. When you're feeling like crap and you go take a walk outside and you breathe the fresh air and you're like, okay, maybe I won't kill my husband today. He can live. I feel better. Let me go back inside. That's energy healing. So all the things you do to feel better, all that self-care stuff that you do that helps you go from grumpy to calm to happy, that's energy work. So on the more esoteric side, like Reiki, you might have heard of, or different energy healing modalities, it is a more direct through a practitioner like myself, or to you, from you to you, way to send energy straight from the divine through you as like I'm a conduit, like I'm just a faucet. I'm not doing anything magic. I'm just a faucet that's bringing the light in through me and then putting it out to you to help balance whatever is imbalanced in a person. So remember that we're all vibration, right? We're just these little teeny tiny invisible-ish things that are vibrating at different frequencies and speeds. When we use something like sound healing or Reiki or any type of light energy modality healings, we are taking it from vibrating at off pace to like vibrating and like, oh, back into in sync. We're getting you from out of sync into sync. And different people do it different ways, and different intuitives have different gifts. And I just want to be clear on what I mean when I say gifts. So I just want to say, imagine one kid is really, really good at math and he doesn't even have to study for the tests and he always gets an A. And then one kid sucks at math. He needs a tutor. He has to reread the textbook a million times, but he can also get an A. Like both kids, the one who just naturally gets it and the one who has to study like crazy, they both can get an A on the test. That is how I view like your intuition and your spiritual gifts and like psychic abilities and all of that. Like some people it's just, it clicks. Some people have to read and learn and study, but it'll click. It'll always click because that's what we're here to do. So saying that, I don't want to, when I say gifts, I don't want people to think like some people are gifted and some aren't. So using those gifts, different people do energy healing in different ways. Like I sometimes get very visual, and when I'm doing chakra healings, I can like literally see what's wrong in someone's body, and I can just like whoop, 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 put it into alignment for them, or pull out whatever is like holding them in a certain area of their energy. And when I say chakra, there are different energy centers in our body that coincide with our endocrine system, and that's just what I meant when I said chakras. In case you didn't know.
Yeah.
Wait, what was the question? Did I answer
So
you?
I don't remember what the question was actually. Oh, energy healing. Yes, that was great. That was great.
Okay, so yes, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you explain things so well. And so yeah, chakras, I don't know. Some people listening might know what that is. I know what that is, but I remember doing Reiki one time and it was like mind blowing, just like how what I felt because she was doing it and I was lying on the table, and then all like her hands were like here, whatever, and I literally felt like this. It was like some well energy, I think, just like being pushed out, and I felt it throughout my entire body go out my feet. It was, and I've never felt anything like that before. It was wild. It
You're
was
very clairsentient. When you get a good or bad feeling about somebody, you feel it in your body before you even start thinking about like maybe they're not good news. You're a feeler. So that's probably why you felt that Reiki so intensely.
That's so true. Okay, wow. And I love how you talked about the self-care piece also being energy healing.
Yeah.
That's so true. Yeah, just like going outside for a walk, or I remember just anytime I take a shower, and if I'm a lot of times too, if I'm having kind of like a low vibe day, I'll take a bath or a shower, and like I feel
Yes.
cleaner. Like not only cleaner,
Energetically
so
cleaner.
yes, yes, yes.
Yes. You're very intuitive. Do you know
Yeah.
that or no?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And but I always thought that everyone was like that. So I don't know if I'm just like, I mean, I think that everyone, has that intuition, like you said, but I've always felt even more strongly within the past like year, I think, that I'm super intuitive. And I would talk about it with some people and they kind of looked at me crazy, or they just like didn't really get it. So I've met some people who are also very intuitive, but also some people who like, I don't think that they are maybe as intuitive as me, but I didn't really know that. I just thought everyone kind of like had that, felt that.
Yeah. We're all at different levels of awareness and different levels
Yeah.
of like closed off fishness.
Hmm.
So yeah, and it seems like your intuition just from like reading your energy, sorry, I'm all up in it. It seems like 2020, you kind of, I don't know what happened to you, but you had a little like aha moment and that you started opening up in there at that point. So
Yeah.
yeah. Don't look all surprised, girl. You know I'm fucking psychic.
I
What are
know.
you
What else can you read?
We'll talk after. We'll talk after.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yes, yes. And I don't even remember what I was gonna say now. Oh yeah, yeah, okay, also very recently I've been trying to be even more in touch with my intuition, listening to my intuition, because there have been times recently where I know it, I feel it, and then I don't follow it. And I'm like, shit, I should have listened to my intuition. Or like I'll have a picture in my mind, or like something will just pop into my mind, and whether it's like a activity or an action to go do something, and I either do or don't do it, but then I realize like, glad I listened to my intuition, or I should have listened to my intuition, or like something will pop up and then it'll happen. I don't know. It's weird.
Yes, yes,
But I'm
that's
trying to
good.
like be
So
more in tune.
good. So I'm so happy to hear that you are trying your best to listen and like be obedient. I don't like that word, but obedient to that nudge that you get. It's so easy to like just blow past it and be like, because it's subtle. When we see things on movies and TV, we think it's going to be like, this is the voice of God telling you what to do now. And it's like, not that. It's your own voice saying, maybe you should go to Costco before you go home. And it's like nothing. It's so imperceptible almost. So I love that you are trying to listen in. And for everyone who is listening to this, oh my God, just take a deep breath, put your hand on your heart, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what's the next best step for me? And whenever you have a question, hand on heart to connect, take a few deep breaths, and then ask the question of what you should do, and get used to starting that conversation with your divine self. The more you try to connect with it, the easier it is for you to like get those right answers.
Yes, yeah, for sure. And I think I now that I'm noticing more of like also what my intuition feels like and is even like up here too, I think I am really trying to like listen to it more. And I don't remember what else I was gonna say about that, but yeah, I've just been noticing it a lot more and more lately.
Good. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And also I'm meeting a lot of I'm trying to meet new people here in town because I just moved here like a few months ago with my girlfriend, and so I've been trying to meet people in town for my business, but also just to build relationships. And I'm coming into contact with a lot more who are also intuitive and more, I guess, like aware
Yeah.
spiritually.
Yeah. I think
So,
we're I think more and more people are opening up, which is beautiful.
mhm. Yeah, it is. It is. What about hypnotherapy? I was super curious about that.
Yeah, so hypno is something I recently got certified in it, but I was doing it like unofficially, which I probably should not say on a podcast that everyone's gonna hear. But I recently got certified in hypnotherapy, or should I say clinical hypnosis, because I recognize that shortcuts exist and we should use the shortcuts, period. Like, we can spend years in therapy talking around. I'm so pro therapy. I have my therapist. I go to my therapist. So please don't stop going to therapy and just find a hypnotherapist. Okay. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But we can spend a lot of time swirling around an issue in therapy, where we can go through hypnosis, rewire, and be done with the problem in 3 sessions. And it's just an easier, more efficient way for you to optimize as a human. There's no reason to spend 2 years talking about a trauma when you can remove the trauma, or
Right.
remove the pain associated with the trauma.
Right. Yep. Okay. And what is that? So yeah, what's that process like? Like if I were to come in and do it?
Yeah. So with hypnosis, okay, so we have different brain states. Sometimes our brain, those brain waves are going fast and furious, and then sometimes they're a lot slower, right? So when we're sleeping, it's a whole lot slower. Right before sleep, it's a whole lot slower. And right as we're waking up, same deal. So in that place of theta, those theta brain waves, you can do a lot of work. You can do a lot of healing work there. So the goal is to get someone relaxed down as close to theta or within theta as possible. We get them down there with breathing, with talking to them rhythmically, and making sure they get calm and relaxed, and their body is relaxed, and there's as little resistance as possible. And then we give them suggestions. So we suggest different things to them that make sense, that take them along the journey from traumatized and going buck nuts over something to a place where that's not even an issue anymore. Like smoking, who wants to fucking smoke? Oh my God, I love my lungs. They're so red and they work so well when I don't smoke. You know, you take them down into that journey, and then you put in these new suggestions that become their own thought.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That would be super interesting to like do or watch, or like just, yeah.
Yeah,
So
there's
to-
different types of hypnosis and
Yeah, that's what I
different
was
ways
gonna
to get
ask.
people in, you know. So I'm about to start training for quantum healing hypnosis therapy, which is like woo woo to the max. It's like past life shit, like all sorts of ancestral healing shit. Like, it's dope, but it's like not required for the average Joe to stop smoking or lose weight or whatever, stop drinking. It's just fun, fun and cool to do.
Yeah.
But you can use it for however you want. And although a lot of hypnotherapists will say you can't successfully self-hypnotize and heal, yes, you can. It's harder, but you can. So if you can't afford to go see a hypnotherapist, y'all just find an audio and freaking do it yourself.
Yeah, there we go. Or at least give it a try, see how it like see what
Yeah, give it a try.
happens.
Start
Yeah.
and see if you notice any changes in your behavior or your desire level. Like,
Yeah.
it works because it works.
Yes, yes. I did something that I don't know if it was similar or but it's a form of therapy, ART. I don't remember what that stands for, but it was kind of like hypnosis. Like I remember it was eye desensitization movement, I think, or something, but she like did this.
Yes, the eye movement thing. Yeah,
Yes, that.
that's pretty popular. I hear it
Yeah.
has good results, and then you can keep going to like maximize the results. Yeah, I have not had it, the rapid eye movement thing. I haven't done it myself, but I've heard really good things.
I've done it a few times with my therapist, and every time I'm like, okay, like I kind of went into it as a skeptic, even though it was working, but I was still skeptical with it. But every time it's like, it is almost too good to be true, but it's like insane how well it works and what happened. And yeah, it was wild. So like, I can't believe it. Like hypnosis too would be even more.
Yeah, they have these modalities that actually work. So we have to think like back before this civilized society that we have now. What were the ancient shaman doing? They were putting people in trances. They were using plant medicine. They were healing. They didn't have time to like sit in therapy for an hour a week. They had to go find freaking fruits and vegetables and hunt and gather and shit. Like, they had to do the quick fix, and nature provided it. So we have to like start using these things again.
Yeah,
I
that's
was really
such a good way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was I was I can talk. I was skeptical about EFT. I'm not sure if you're familiar, tapping.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Emotional freedom technique is what it stands for. I was so skeptical. I was like, yo, so I'm supposed to tap on my face and I'm going to feel better? But that shit works. Like, I don't know what. It's amazing. And I'm just like, yes, literally, I'm tapping on my face and I feel better. I don't know how it works, but it does. But now I know how it works. So if people are listening, try that out. There's a dude on YouTube, Brad Yates. He has tapping on anything from money to stress to love to whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember, yeah, like years ago, someone on Facebook, I was in a group, she was talking about it, like teaching about it. And I'm just like, same thing, like, what are you like, that works? And then I haven't really tried it fully myself, but it kind of has been like a growing thing and other people telling me their stories with it and stuff. And yeah, it's really cool. And also I was going to say that I think now we're always just, we don't think about like thousands of years back, when they didn't have even like medications or like just think like it's just kind of like crazy that we don't go back to that. That's the stuff that works and it's safe and it is like more like the holistic approach, but yeah, it's just kind of going back to all of that.
Can I offer you something real quick?
Hmm.
You said how lots of people have been telling you about, tapping EFT. That is literally your intuition talking to you. If multiple people are telling you about one thing, go look into that one thing. Okay?
Okay.
So EFT is something you need to be looking into.
Okay, let me write that down. Yeah, because it just got brought up again this week or last week. That's crazy. I gotta think about anything else too that's been brought up. But yeah, super cool. Okay, this other thing that was on my note was positive psychology.
Yeah.
Tell us more about that.
That's like everything we're talking about today.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if like a
Psychology.
specific thing.
Yeah, so the work of Marty Seligman, I think, is great for anyone who's interested in this, but like, where do I want to go with this? I'll say it this way. We are thinking beings, we are doing beings, and the way we think impacts how we do. And for many people, we are recognizing that positivity is a great way to get the thinking and the doing in the way that we want it to be, versus like, no, slap on the hand and punitive and like, okay, you're in jail. Like, that's not gonna help reinforce anything positive to create the outcomes that we want. But if we think about things in a positive way, like, okay, Timmy, really great job on the math test. I wish you studied harder on spelling. What can we do to make spelling great? Like thinking that way instead of like, oh, sorry for that noise.
Okay.
Instead of like, you did bad on the test. Now go to your room. Like, who's that serving? Timmy's gonna be like, well, fuck you and that spelling test. Like, it just doesn't work. So positive psychology is that. It's around that. And it's not, I want to be super clear, it's not what people call toxic positivity, which I kind of don't believe in that term either. It's either you're faking or you're actually happy. So if you're actually happy, how is it toxic? If you're minimizing someone else's experience, that has nothing to do with you being positive. That means you're like an asshole, right? So, but it's not being toxic in positivity and like pretending problems don't exist or like ignoring reality. It's just about using a positive means to get to the outcome that you're desiring. And all the things that we spoke about today is part of that.
Yep, that makes sense. And is it kind of too like, because I like being an optimism, like if there's a challenge that comes up, it's like, oh my God, but looking at it from a positive perspective, like what's the lesson, what's the opportunity here? Like
Absolutely.
that is, okay, yeah.
Literally it, absolutely. And then I don't know if you know the work of Carol Dweck on the mindsets, like a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. Growth mindset is all that positivity stuff. It's like, okay, well, I did bad on the test, but I know next time I can study longer and I can ask questions in class so I'm sure of what the answers are and blah, 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 blah. It's finding a way. But then fixed mindset is, oh, I'll never get it, womp, 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 and like not going to try and just staying stuck.
Yeah, I've noticed for my life just the power in having that optimistic view in certain situations and that perspective has served me really well. There's definitely been times where it's been real hard to like look at that perspective or want, or I'll catch myself not doing that. And then I have to like reel myself in and think about what, think about the situation and just rethink about it, reflect on it, and find that like opportunity or whatever. But
Yeah.
it has definitely served me well. And it is also just a, I don't know if better is the right word, but it is a better way to live. I feel like just going through
Totally.
life
It's
and
more aligned with what you're here to be.
Mhm.
We're here to experience and have highs and lows, but we're not here to suffer and toil and like live in like depression, right? And it's for anyone listening, if you're in a place that's super low, if you are depressed, if you are like, oh, like I'm just in a bad season of life, remember that you don't have to go from like ugh to elation and everything's fine and I'm so happy. Like we can just go to a place of like, all right, well, I'm not gonna kill anybody today. And then to another place of like, well, today's a little better than yesterday. And it can be incremental. It doesn't have to be like all or nothing.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Very good point. Let's see. That was a lot. That was a lot of good stuff. Is there anything else that you want to say, like about manifesting, energy healing, or like an overarching message that you just feel like you want or need to share?
I feel the overarching message I need to share, I feel is that you are way more powerful than you think you are. And you don't need to know and be educated and learn it on any of the topics that we spoke about. You just have to be able to trust yourself and trust that little thing within you that has you listening to this podcast right now and has you doing the things for yourself that you know are for your highest good. So trust that. And the more you trust and listen to yourself, the more that little seed will grow. So just trust yourself.
Love
You're
that.
on the right path. You
Yes.
are on the right
Yeah.
path.
I feel like people need to hear that more. Or there's just times where someone will say it and it's like, okay, I really needed to be reminded of that. I needed to hear that you're on the right path. Yeah. So last question. My podcast is called Flow with the Grow. What comes to mind when you hear that? Just what comes to mind?
Literally a garden and like frolicking through it, like flow and grow. And I'm happy and I'm just like skipping through in like this flowy dress, which I never wear. And like the flowers are tall, like up to my waist. And I'm just like frolicking through. That's literally the picture that came through as you
That's
just now said.
awesome. Amazing. I love that. So, if someone wants to learn more about you, they want to work with you, they just want to find you on social media, where can they go to find you? What or any of like the programs that you offer that you want to talk about as well, or coaching?
Sure. Yeah. You can find me on Instagram at the Dani Faust. My podcast is Manifest It Sis. And I also have a Facebook group of the same name. Right now, my offerings are one-on-one coaching and one-on-one hypnosis. I also have kind of like an intuitive in a day, VIP day program. And then if you want like a DIY in a box, I have a course, Money Manifesting Magic, which is dope, if I do say so myself. And then right now, my HCM, the Heal Connect Manifest, is a 6-month program that I'm not opening the doors until June, but that is my larger offering.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, it'll be good timing because let's see. So June, like end of June, beginning of June.
Beginning of June, we open the cart, and then July we start. July to the end of the year, we start
Okay.
for that. Yeah,
Cool.
it's like
Yeah.
a 6-month mastermind type thing where we go through the heal, connect, manifest process. I'll be hypnotizing the shit out of y'all. It's dope.
That's awesome. Sweet. Well, this
Yeah.
episode will probably come out close to that time, so it'll be honestly perfect timing.
Yay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I'm so glad that we connected, and I appreciate everything that you do and everything, just being willing to come on and talk to me and talk about all of this stuff. Super appreciate it. It's been amazing.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And thank you for listening, everybody out there.